Thank you, David. Thank everyone for coming on Sunday, almost not a morning anymore. Great to be here. And yeah, let's talk about blockchain operating system. The slides may magically appear. So one day we'll have, not just scalable blockchain, but also working AV. All right, awesome. So yeah, kind of really to frame this, right, Near started on a vision of what we call open web and Web3, where we want to have people control over their data, over their assets, and power governance. And we started in 2018 with a kind of position that to achieve that, you need a simple to use, scalable, and secure layer 1 blockchain, because blockchain provides a root of trust, a kind of settlement layer for assets, a coordination mechanism for governance. We've been building that since 2018. There's still a ton of work, but we launched in 2020. And since then, had been very kind of amazed by the developers who came in and started building, and really been focused on how can we help and give more tools to these developers to really kind of build the best technology and products possible. And so kind of, especially last year, we focused a lot on what we call developer platform. This is kind of removing the barriers for developers from anywhere of building smart contract to kind of building services on top of it. Now, what we've noticed is there still were a lot of hurdles for these developers and entrepreneurs when they were building their applications. It was hurdles of acquiring users. It was hurdles of people finding, discovering applications in the ecosystem. And so the idea of kind of this blockchain operating system came from really extending what we're doing while still being on this vision and mission of enabling open web. And we really aiming kind of, in big audacious goal to get 1 billion users into this new world where they control their data, assets, and governance. So what is blockchain operating system? At the kind of core of it, it's a common layer for browsing, discovering open web experiences. And importantly, compatible with any blockchain. It means that you can easily not just kind of come in and kind of explore one application and use it, but actually find all of the different applications that exist in Web3. And it's not limited to near protocol blockchain. It's accessible through kind of applications from any of the Web3 ecosystem. So kind of rolling back, like what are the set of problems we're trying to solve? The kind of Web2 problems, right? The core why we want open web, why kind of, especially for entrepreneurs and developers, is because of kind of lack of data ownership. It's because of privacy. It's kind of the middlemen and middle services that set the rules and change them. It's kind of various reasons for censorship that happen kind of outside of the direct control of user or developer who are participating in this. And then because the kind of this big mode platforms are really kind of becoming the control places of the internet, and all of the other applications losing users. Now in Web3, we kind of created new problems, right? We have fragmentation between all the different applications and protocols. We have challenge with discoverability. You install the wallet, you have some Ethereum, now what, right? You have some Near, which applications to use, what are the things that you can do, how to find them. You have this multi-chain problem, right? Well, like I have some Near, and there's an application on another chain, how do I use this? I need to figure out what's the security, all of the kind of complexity there. And if you're an application developer, you see all these users sending transactions, but you have no way to tell them, hey, we have a new feature releasing. We have a new program or a new kind of idea we want to discuss with you. There's no way to re-engage your users. And there's a lot of common problems, right, which have different aspects in Web2 and Web3, things like onboarding, right? In Web2, onboarding is one of the biggest problems for everyone. Getting people to actually sign up is really hard. And in Web3, we all know this is extremely hard problem. You need to kind of get users to understand the value of Web3, and sometimes you cannot even get people to try things before. You have obviously challenges with complexity kind of building this. The applications are becoming more and more complex. The types of platforms you need to build for mobile and web, right, have different release cycles and need a different level of support. So all of these problems, blockchain operating system is trying to provide us common framework to really try to solve. And so it's not one monotonic thing, right? It's a stack of different pieces that coming together, and different parts are playing different role, and kind of different applications use different pieces of the stack. So at the bottom, we have all the blockchains with also kind of layer 2s as well as smart contracts. We have a open web services layer on top of it that really provides kind of everything from abstraction to interaction with these blockchains, and I'll talk about that in a second. On top of that, we have decentralized and composable front ends. And this is one of the innovations as well we've introduced here to allow to not just decentralize the kind of the identity, the assets, but also decentralize how you're accessing it and really innovate on how you can build applications. Now you have gateways. Gateways are way you actually accessing this as an end user, and you have various ways to interact with it and kind of own your identity, wallets, or various other ways to onboard. So zooming in into open web services is really a kind of collection of different services. So very similar to developers who have used Amazon Web Services, right? There's a set of services that you use, and for different applications, you pick different set. And so important ones are obviously all the data platform one, right? The blockchain and kind of pieces around it have a lot of data, but it's not accessible in the right format for the high-performance applications. And so there's a number of indexers and query API to provide you data processed in the right way. You have things like meta transactions that allow to submit transactions on user behalf while still being kind of non-custodial, and kind of remove the burden of paying transaction fees at the moment by the user in a native token. We have things like FastAuth that allows to onboard users kind of using already existing cryptography on the phone, using meta transactions, and really packaging the experience, and I'll show how that looks. You have things like Near Social, which is a decentralized social kind of infrastructure that you can embed into any of the experiences. You have things like notifications and search and recommendation to re-engage and allow people to discover various aspects of Web3. And you have things like multi-chain remote accounts, really allowing to kind of leverage one place and be able to interact with different chains. And this is not limiting set. This is just to kind of showcase a combination of things. And more and more developers will be building in this framework and adding more services into this. And this is not, it's not a closed platform, hence the name. And so it allows to anyone to add more services into this bundle of open web services. Now, conceptually, what we're trying to do is turn around the current state where decentralization means you lack the distribution, right? Most of the applications which launch in decentralized world lack distribution. They have trouble building the audience. They don't have an immediate way to access kind of all the audiences that already even exist in Web3 unless you partner up with exchange that has tens of millions of users. And so to do that, right, what we're trying to do is leverage decentralization, leverage this idea that if you have common platform, common identity, common set of services that are decentralized, anywhere this is surfaced now becomes kind of a union, like the users using any of these pieces, any of the gateway, become a union of users of this platform, right? Because users own their data, because it kind of allows to connect all these chains, it allows to have this discovery layer. You have now really kind of a common platform for distribution. So, I mean, probably some of you are here developers, like why it matters for you, because it's a faster developer environment. And it's not just faster for Web3, it's actually, we're starting to see some of the Web2 developers as well seeing it to be faster. It's kind of a lot of existing components and pieces that are already built that you can reuse extremely fast. It's all in JavaScript, including there's JavaScript smart contracts. You can get this decentralized distribution, right? So like as you build your application, you can right away get access to all of the users across different kind of surface forms and get them to try your application. And you don't need to kind of handle all of the scaffolding, right? The hosting, the kind of back and front end. If you don't want to, you don't need to deal with it. So I mentioned FastOS, right? This is something we released at Consensus, and we're working toward a kind of opening it up in September. It's the idea that you can use already existing cryptography on a phone. So there's a secure enclave on a phone that has cryptography, same on modern laptops, to generate kind of the private key you can use to sign up for applications. Now, you can also leverage multi-party computation to do email recovery. And so by just typing in an email, it generates a near account ID. You sign in with your Face ID or fingerprint or PIN code, and you have an account now on-chain that you can use and interact with applications that are paid by Meta transactions. So all of this usually takes 5 seconds, and you have a user who doesn't know anything about crypto, doesn't need to see like seed phrases, 0x hashes, and is able to start using applications. And it is actually easier than Web2 because you don't need password, you don't need to figure out all of this. And kind of the way we're building it would allow you, if you're already logged in one of the places, you can actually like reuse that account in other locations. So all of this is live, and so the idea is like I want to show you a quick demo of all of this. That's why we took a bit of time to set this up. So if you go to near.org right now, actually near.org is powered by blockchain operating system, and specifically the blockchain operating system front ends. And kind of if you do log in, you will see this kind of social and kind of application discovery experience. And right now, near.org is mostly focused for more developers and super fans of Near ecosystem. And kind of initially, we want to build this developer community here, which are and kind of users who are willing to try and test applications and give feedback and really participate actively in the building of this. So it's not ready for like everyone, but it's really targeting people who are like builders and makers and creators. And so here you can go to Discover and pretty much find different applications and components, right? So applications, there's over 183 are different. There's DeFi, NFTs, there's DAOs and kind of polling. There's all the governance stuff that's happening. People build Web2 applications here as well. There's kind of different multi-chain. So for example, you can see all of the EVM applications that have been built here as well, from Aave to LiDAR to 1inch. And I think we'll have Kendall later talking about some of this. And the cool thing about any of this, whenever you look at something, you can go to a Develop tab, and you can open the details about what you're looking at. So this is actually zooming in into the component itself that powers what you looked at. And you can see the actual source code of it, which other components it refers to. You can see who built it, as well as some tags and filtering through this. And you can fork it and actually build your own, right? So let's say I want to fork it, and so I get into this like sandbox developer mode. If you want, you can do all this locally as well, and hopefully the internet is working. Live demos are always a question. Okay. Well, if it loaded, you could actually pretty much modify it and see how it renders, and you can publish it, and other can start accessing right away, right? And so under your profile, you could see kind of what are the things that people that you build and the others build, and really it kind of creates this like tying the social, the kind of developer, NFTs, your on-chain activity, all of those things into a single reputation. Similarly, already, for example, Near Digital Collective, which is Near's decentralized governance, using this to build their polling, their kind of elections, all of the systems here. You can see that I'm, for example, verified human based on soul-bound token or badge that I have. And so all of this kind of really creates like one platform that my identity powering with my data is accessible through all those applications. Now, I mentioned this is Near.org gateway. You can go to boss.gg gateway, which is powered exactly by the same code, modified a little bit style-wise, and you can open exactly the same applications here. And pretty much it kind of pulls the application itself from the blockchain and renders it in the user view. And we're definitely having not a great day today. And just to show you kind of another example, there's ShardDog, which is another project on Near, and they just created their gateway as well. And they actually NFT gated it. You need to have an NFT to be able to access their gateway and access the content they have. But they're using all the same kind of core platform code to run the gateway. They're using the same identity. They're using the same kind of components here. And you can kind of see that, my identity of, root.near and kind of with all the social information I have is accessible everywhere. And depending on what, permissions and access I have, I now can kind of zoom in into a deeper interactions. So coming back, right, if you're a developer, what can you build, right? And how is your building process would go? So let's imagine we have an Idris, a fictional hacker, who wants to build a Web3 fitness project. And so he's partnering with some gyms to build a membership program for them and kind of really engage people into more active lifestyle. And he sees that as both individual and group activity, and so he wants to create kind of this experience. And really what he prioritizes is speed of learning. He wants to really quickly get to a prototype, get users to try it, get the feedback, and refine his product. And so he goes in and kind of explores what's already there. He sees there's a mint-based project called Minsta, where you can mint some NFTs. There's some social components you can use. There's like cool ways to render NFTs. And so he pulls it all together, right? Changes a little bit the styles and gets his iFit app going kind of right away. The idea is like he didn't need to spin up any of the own website, hosting, any of this. Really kind of just pull together a few pieces and time them in together. So this would, forking some of the components and modifying the style and design. And so really kind of it's the fastest way to prototype, right? In the sandbox mode to get from nothing to like a first idea and understand how it runs. You have full stack JavaScript, smart contracts, query API for data aggregation and front ends. And you have kind of all of these thousands of components you can reuse. Now, right away, you get discussions integrated into this, so you can have people who are like trying out your app, leave some feedback, get the conversation going. You can also really easily create kind of ways to link people in. There's also Project Keepon that allows to kind of drop NFTs to the users and get them trial accounts. And so as they come in, they use the FastOS to really sign up and start interacting without really knowing that they're using blockchain even initially. Right? They just go through the process, claim their badge, and kind of see that they have badge, and they can log in as a workout and kind of start engaging more with the application. And at the same time, you have because it's in the system, right? Any of the gateways now can access this application. They can surface it. It can be found in search. It can also be, we're actually launching in the social feed itself. You can now embed parts of the your application directly inside social feed and kind of get people to interact with your app while they're actually going through a social feed. So it's more efficient way to acquire users, easier discovery, and kind of extremely easy way to onboard new users and kind of users who don't know what Web3 is and don't know what tokens, coins, or whatever are. Now, you can use all of the social machinery, right, that exists there from Open Web Services to now expand it and build more engaging activity and kind of communities there. And importantly, notifications to actually re-engage your users as you have new activities, as you have new programs launched. And so users are in control what notifications they receive. And we actually leveraging some of the new tech that now allows mobile browsers to do push notifications. And finally, you can launch your own gateway, right? So it started on near.org or started on any other existing gateway, but then you can launch your own gateway, get it branded, get kind of specifically your experience set up as a default to start with, and still have all of the other functionality being powered there. So increase user retention, build a community, and kind of really customize any part of the experience you need. You can also host this on the ENS domain, for example, serving this from IPFS, so you can like fully decentralize your hosting as well. And so all in all, this is really kind of this idea of community commerce, right? It kind of brings together the digital value that we have in blockchains, right, and that we want to have kind of more accessible in the world. The social interactions that right now are kind of really locked in platforms like Twitter and Facebook, kind of opening up in a more decentralized way, and really this more active participation that people we do know want to have, but are very limited. And it allows the developers on the other side to kind of go from hypothesis to kind of real market expansion because it's like accessible globally right away. So just to kind of recap, for developers is really unlock kind of this composable multi-chain future, develop really easily and kind of faster, and access all those users across all of the gateways on kind of blockchain operating system. So Near started as blockchain, right? But our vision always been to build the open web, to build the Web3. And because of this, we kind of started adding all of these other components, right? The data platform, the identity, the developer tooling, multi-chain interoperability, fast onboarding, social graph. And so as we kind of created more and more of these pieces, we realized it's not just a blockchain. It's really a blockchain operating system powering this open web vision. So try it out. It's on near.org. You can, both as kind of a user explore what's there, as well as a developer to try some applications. Kind of from there, you can go and explore what else you can build. And that's pretty much it. Would love to hear your questions.